Stop overcomplicating pull days. The internet has tons of opinions about what the perfect pull day routine looks like, and there are a bajillion different pull exercises and variations for you to pick from. Let me show you how I simplify pull day into 4 categories: strength work, vertical pulling, horizontal pulling, and accessory work. I'll show you some of my favorite exercises from each of these categories, explain them, and show you exactly how I program a pull day and what my current pull day looks like. Good morning. Welcome to week 15, day 2. It is heavy pull day. Pull day has started to become one of my favorite days. Traditionally, it's been push day, but I've been making some progress on my pull lifts lately, particularly deadlift. I've always been a little bit behind in what my deadlift should be, and I'm still behind, but I've been seeing some progress, which is encouraging. So our lifts for today are barbell deadlifts, weighted pull-ups, bent over barbell rows, dumbbell pullovers, and easy bar bicep curls. I'm going to talk today a little bit about how I came up with this program. I did use ChatGPT or Claude or one of those, I can't remember, to help me come up with my full push-pull leg routine a while ago for this routine that I started. But when I was speaking with Claude about pull day specifically, I had a few different opinions that I wanted to assert, and I had these categories of the different types of lifts that I wanted to make sure that we included, and there are different variations for each of those, different options, and then also my personal strengths and weaknesses, how that fit into that as well, informed what the end workout looked like. So we're going to talk about that. I already said, I think in the intro, that we're going to talk about strength work, talk about vertical pulling, horizontal pulling, and accessory work. And I think if you just keep it into those 4 categories, it can vastly simplify what your pull day looks like. You can get caught up in the weeds and the details and all the minutia and the variations pretty easily, but I think if you always come back to these 4 categories and make sure you're hitting those, it'll be hard to have an ineffective pull day. I think that if you stick to these fundamentals, you will see progress in your back growth and strength. So let's get to it. I'm going to give you guys a little TMI right now. I'm super gassy this morning. I have no idea why. Something I ate yesterday. But it's a really good thing that the movie theaters, the scents going through, it's a really good thing that didn't catch on and make its way to home video devices, because y'all would be in trouble. Oh, it's so stinky. I may have had to move out of my bed last night. But like I said, that's TMI. You guys didn't need to know that, but now you do, and I can't take it back. I guess I could edit it out. I probably won't. First warm-up set. As always, we're warming up with 2 sets of 50%, 10 reps, and 1 set of 75% at 6 to 8 reps. Shooting for my working weight of 305 today, so I've got 155 loaded for now. All right, let's get this second warm up, and then we'll talk a little bit about whole day stuff. So let's just jump right into some controversy, right? Deadlifts. Do they belong on a pull day? I consider deadlifts to satisfy my first category of strength work. I like my push, pull, and leg day. I like each of them to have a heavy compound lift. Heavy compound lifts, that's bench press, deadlift, squat, and maybe overhead press or push press. You want to include that as well. So for me, the fact that there are 3 main compound lifts fits really well into the paradigm of push-pull legs. So I like to go ahead and do deadlifts on my heavy pull day, right? And a lot of people will say that deadlifts belong on the leg day. I see the logic for that. That makes sense. And I can see how doing heavy leg workout on your pull day may interfere with leg day performance the next day, which is why I don't do push-pull legs. I do push-pull, and then I put in a moderate push on Wednesday, and then I do leg day on Thursday and a moderate pull on Friday. So I get a buffer day in between my heavy pull and my leg day. But going back to my strength work theory or category, I think it's really important to be building strength because it is helpful for muscle growth, bone density, and there's not direct one-to-one correlation with hypertrophy and muscle strength. One can go more at a higher rate than the other, but they generally go together, right? And I like my compound lifts. I like to do the lower set range of 4 to 6 because it's fun. You get to lift heavy things. I feel like it releases more stress for me to lift these really heavy things. I may not do that for all time. As I get older, I may go a little bit lighter and more reps just to take it a little bit easier on my body and my joints. But for now, I am firmly committed to the powerlifting rep range of 4 to 6 for these compound lifts for my strength work. And with deadlifts, that satisfies that category for pull day. And there are different variations. Obviously, traditional deadlift is the main one I rely on. But you can see I have a hex bar back there that I will do. I relied heavily on that. A couple of years ago, I had some upper back issues. In fact, I have an old upper back injury from falling off a ladder, and I tweaked that. And I relied heavily on the trap bar to relieve the pressure needed and the mobility needed on my back for deadlifts. But I also really like sumo deadlifts. There are some people who use that as their main deadlift. I use traditional deadlift as my main deadlift, but I use all 3 variations in my programming. And I talked about it yesterday in push day. Not getting bored is just as important as your other aspects of your training when you think about your volume and your intensity and stuff like that. If you're getting bored, you might not have the same mind-muscle connection, and you're not going to see the same progress and growth that you want. So I don't always change up the main lifts and the workouts and stuff like that, but if I'm feeling stagnated or if I'm feeling bored, I will. So having 3 different kind of main variations for deadlift helps. And there are obviously lots of other variations you can do, like deficit or rack pulls, tempo, and stuff like that. I haven't felt the need to dig into that yet. I have plenty of progress to make on my regular deadlifts, and so maybe I'll look into those at a later time. Jeez, talking so much. My breaks are supposed to be 2 minutes, and that was like 5 minutes. Stop me from talking so much next time. Let's get this last warm-up set. We're at 75%. All right, first working set. I've got 305 loaded on here. I slowed down and double checked the weight because a couple times these past couple weeks I have forgotten to change the weight. Gotten distracted talking to the camera. Alright, got 5. You may have noticed yet another controversial thing that I do, which is mixed grip on the deadlifts. Most people start with double overhand, right? That's a pretty traditional way of doing it. That's how I do my warm-ups. I early on switched to straps with that in high school. Just automatically started with straps, and I wish I hadn't, because I think that my grip strength suffered or didn't grow as rapidly as it could, and my grip strength became a severe handicap in my deadlifts. I tried doing the hook grip where you grab and you actually get your thumbs underneath your fingers on the bar, and I just didn't feel like I was as strong as I needed to be, and so I went back to straps for a while. And then just a few weeks ago, I tried out mixed grip again. And the reason I hadn't done mixed grip is because people had said bad things about it, like that it's not, that it's hampering your strength in your grip, or that not real powerlifters don't do that. And it's just not true. Just like with any debate on the internet, there are multiple sides, and I think I was just listening to one side. And so now, having tried it out, listening to the other side, I'm like, why didn't I do this earlier? I've seen more gains in my deadlift in the past, 4 weeks than I have in 4 years. Now, there's been some other complicating factors. I mentioned that upper back injury I had. That certainly slowed things down. I finally caved in. I shouldn't say caved in. I finally smartened up. I finally got wise and got strength lifting belt, which I highly recommend early on. There's no reason not to do that. And that's going to help you brace your core and get a little bit more stability. So I think between the belt, going to mixed grip, and then just being healthy and consistent, I'm starting to finally see some improvements. One thing that I am going to do with mixed grip is make sure I'm switching hands so that I don't get severely imbalanced. I do notice I do seem to be a little bit stronger when my right hand is supinated, but I am going to make sure that I'm doing at least 1 or 2 reps with my left hand supinated as well. I wanted to get away from straps on the off chance that I do get to a point where my squat and deadlift get to a point where I feel like I could maybe do a powerlifting competition if the opportunity arose and I felt like doing it. But straps are not allowed typically in those. So hopefully the vacuum upstairs is not too loud and you can hear what I'm saying. Must be cleaning time up there. But let's get this next lift. All right, second set. We are going to flip the left hand this time. All right. Five again. Let's see how we're feeling on the last one, see if we can get 6 and move up weight next week. That'd be cool. Next category on pull day is vertical pulls. So it's exactly what it sounds like. You want to be in a vertical position pulling, right? And this is one, when we talk about the vertical pull and the horizontal pull, this is where you can get lost in the weeds with all the different exercises and variations. And so what I would recommend if you're first starting out, or even if you're just trying to get locked in, if you are intermediate and you just want to get locked in, just keep it simple. Pull-ups and lat pull-downs, right? Those are the only 2 vertical pulls that you need. And I would just say regular, right? You can get caught up in wide grip, narrow grip, supinated grip, right? I would just say go to start with your standard grip, not too wide, not too narrow, just outside of your shoulders grip, right? And that is going to give you a good stimulus in your lats, especially your upper lats. It's going to help, especially pull-ups. Pull-ups are the best thing you can do for your lats. So that's why I recommend most people, if you can do pull-ups, I recommend doing those. If you cannot, then I recommend weight or band assisted or some kind of assisted pull-up and or lat pull-downs. So I like to use pull-ups as my main pull, and then I program in lat pull-downs on my second pull day. And I focus on regular to, if anything, I tend to go a little bit wider grip because I want to focus on my upper lats. And I'm looking for width because I lack width in my upper lats. And so that's simply something that I am working on. Getting a narrower grip will work more of a thickness of your mid back and your lower back. And so I'm not as focused on that. Surely I can use some help there, but when it comes to vertical pulls, I am focused on trying to get width in my lats. I keep it simple with pull-ups and lat pull-downs. The real quick bonus thing, I'll skip ahead a little bit. We'll talk about accessory work later. I do love dumbbell pullovers. I think they're one of the most underrated pull workouts that you can do. And I consider that a vertical pull as well. There's debate on whether it's a lat workout or a chest and triceps workout. The way that I do it is I focus on keeping my arms extended and really focus on stretching my lats and pulling. If you bend your arms, you can certainly focus on your chest and getting the stimulus there. I use it as a back workout, and I think it's super underrated. I don't use it as my main vertical pull. I do use it as accessory. All right, this is our last deadlift. I talked a while, so I've got lots of rest. I should be rested up. That can't be an excuse. Can we get 6 without going overboard, without hurting ourselves, being safe, but still feel like we have a couple of reps in the tank after? That would be cool. All right. Six, got it. And I don't know. Oh man, I don't know if you heard it on that third rep or so. Almost like shit my pants. I farted so loud. Oh, it's so sneaky, guys. Oh, I can't wait to watch that back and see if you can hear it. All right, we've got weighted pull-ups. Let me just demonstrate some grips real quick. I can see where my calluses wipe off. This is what I would consider standard grip, but at least for me, I'm just slightly outside of my shoulders, right? It should be almost a 90-degree angle when I get up there. If I wanted to go wide, for me, that's almost to the very edge of the rack right here, right? And that is going to work even more of my upper lats. If I wanted to go narrow, that would be here. That's basically just almost directly above my shoulders, and that's going to work more of the mid-back. Like I said, I like the standard grip because it's going to work a little bit of both, but it's really going to work the lats. You should be able to feel this, people. You should be able to feel this. Right in this guy. Feel it here, maybe in your mid-back a little bit too. Let me wipe that sweat off. With that being said, since I talk so much, I'm going to cut and then we'll come back. All right, we're back. Let's do it. We're recording, right? Got an error message on the thing. It's just for the thing. All right. Here we go. Ugh. I don't have a ton of weight on me either. I just have a 10-pound plate. So pull-ups is one of those things where it's hard for everyone. There are people who can, man, they can load up a 45-pound weight, a couple of 45-pound weights. We'll get there. But all that to say, start with your body weight. And if you cannot do body weight, use a band, right? You can hook up a band to top here, right? And then you can stick your foot or your knee in that, just like this. And that should be able to lighten that load, right? And obviously the different color bands, different tension of the bands will allow you to get more assistance or less assistance, so you can progressively overload your assistance. There's those machines at the gyms that are assisted pull-up machines as well you can use. You can also stand on a box, right? Or a stool and just help yourself a little bit. My ceilings are so low, I can almost just do that from the ground. I can cheat with my feet a little bit. But I would say that the goal is to get to where you can do, 6 would be great. I love the 6 to 8, I like that 6 to 10 rep range. So as soon as you can get 6 full reps, that's a good sign. If you can get more than that, you can do progressive overload. So right now I'm in that 6 to 10 because I'm doing 8. So as soon as I can get to 10 reps, I'm going to go back down to 6. I'm going to add weight and go back down to 6. So whatever that is for you, if that's moving up in your band, or if that's just finally getting to doing body weight, or if that's now finally getting to where you're adding weight to a belt. That is how I would progressively overload these. You can, of course, if you don't have a belt, you can always just keep on adding reps. But at a certain point, to me, it gets less fun and you're not focusing on hypertrophy as much. It becomes more of a conditioning thing. So that's all I'll say about progressive overload for now. All right, second set, weighted pull-ups. We got 8 on the first one. We're shooting for 3 sets of 8 or more. So I am using hook grip on the pull-ups. I feel like that tends to help me stay up for longer. That's what she said. But really what I do is I just try and get my hands as much over the bar as I can. And then I tuck those thumbs under the thing. So I don't know if this is a good, that's not, you can't really see it all. Plus my arm is grip. And I do have a little bit, this is the standard one. I have a thicker pull-up bar in the back that would be something you can do to challenge your grip strength a little bit more. We already talked about varying the width. Obviously, you can also go supinated and then it becomes a chin up, right? And no surprise there, you're going to use more biceps. You're still activating your lats so much. So that is definitely, that might be like first or second variation I would turn to if I get bored or if I'm just blowing these out of the water, right? I would just go to a standard width grip. And actually, wider grip, chin-ups, this doesn't seem like a good idea to me. I would just do regular grip, right? You're going to work more of your mid-back, more of your biceps, but you are still going to get lots of lat activation as well. So the last grip that you can do, I don't have it here, but you can do a neutral grip, right? You got pronated, supinated. You can do a neutral grip. A lot of gyms have pull-up stations that have those. It's going to be a pretty good balance between lat isolation while also recruiting other muscles. I don't have a way to do that. They do make attachments. You can buy them off Amazon that attach to your main pull-up bar and they hang down so that you can do neutral grip if that's something that you're interested in. But I don't have that. I think the last thing I'll say about pull-ups is I'm not a huge fan. I have done CrossFit in the past and CrossFit is super fun. I do not recommend doing CrossFit momentum pull-ups for strength training and hypertrophy. It's just the same reason why you wouldn't want to rock your body when you're doing curls. It's because you're literally using weight and gravity and momentum to work to your advantage, and so you're working less. Now, that being said, the flying pull-ups can be a great conditioning mechanism, right? I think that works great in a CrossFit style workout like an EMOM or a Metcon where you're trying to
just burn a lot of calories in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, and you're trying to keep your heart rate up while also getting muscle stimulus. I think it's great for that. I do not think it should be the primary mechanism if you're trying to grow your muscles and work on hypertrophy and strength training. So what I would focus on is coming all the way down and literally locking out your arms. This is not all the way down. This is all the way down. And I even tend to try to, when I get all the way down, I almost ease up the tension so that my muscles can stretch, right? So if I'm still holding on to tension a little bit, I'm not going to be able to get the full eccentric stretch that I want. And a lot of this, we'll come back and talk about lat pull downs, but a lot of this applies to lat pull downs as well. So hopefully my actions are consistent with my words, and I am coming all the way down and easing the tension at the bottom for a full stretch before I come back up. Let's see if I eat my words or not. All right. So hopefully you can see coming all the way down, and you can even see when I get down, it almost feels like you can see my arms twist a little bit, and that's me locking out and letting go of tension. Another tendency that I have is to hip my knees up a little bit on the way up, and I try to actively work against that. Sometimes it just happens by instinct. But again, that kipping mechanism, right? I don't think I have enough room in here to do a kipping pull up. That whole CrossFit where you swing forward and then kip up, that is not going to be great for hypertrophy and strength training. It's a great way to condition, and it's a really fun way to blast out a bunch of pull-ups. I would rather do less pull-ups where I lock out, and even pausing at the bottom. If you never try, that's another variation, right? You can pause for 2 seconds at the bottom and then come up. See how many pull-ups you can do with that, right? I'd probably slash it in half with how many you normally do. Same thing with at the top. That's another thing you can do if you come up and hold the squeeze. Oh, and then come down. Another great variation. Another thing that you'll see some bodybuilders do, like Sam Sulek, he'll do his pull-ups. He'll go to failure, and then even after he fails, he'll still do half reps, right? He'll be like, ugh. And that's just another way to get some extra stimulus and break down your muscle some more. I personally don't do it, but obviously it works for him. Our last thing I'll say about vertical pulls, and that is most of what we talked about with pull-ups applies to lat pull downs as well. Everything we talked about with the width of your grip, pronated versus supinated, fully extending at the top and getting a nice stretch, avoiding momentum, the variations, pausing at the bottom, pausing at the top. Really, the top of a lat pull down almost feels like the bottom because you have it pulled down, but you're down here and just squeezing the back of your chest. The really cool thing about lat pull downs is that you can also do it isometrically. You can do single arm lat pull downs, right? And that's usually done with a neutral grip, but you can do single arms. And so that's a really cool thing. If you're strong enough to do single arm pull-ups, great, you can do that too. But so let's move on to our horizontal pulls. All right, we've got bent over barbell rows, and that's going to be our first category, or our first entry in the category for horizontal pulling. And horizontal pulling is exactly what it sounds like, where your arms are out in front and you're pulling back. Vertical pulling, obviously pulling down. Horizontal pulling. So with bent over barbell rows, we have to bend over for it to be horizontal. So we're bent over, shooting for 90 degrees if we can, but I'm not quite 90. I don't know if I'm 75 or 80 or whatever, but I'm pulling and I'm trying to pull 90 degrees with my body. So that's not directly out like this with elbows flared. I'm trying to keep those elbows in and pull like this. So that's the idea. I'll leave the camera there so you can see what it looks like from the front, and then I'll move it, see if I can get it from the side and the back as well. How many am I doing? 3 sets of 10. This is one where if I get to 12, that's when I would probably move up. I had the belt just to take some tension off my back. A nice neutral medium grip. This is about what I would do for deadlift. Oh, and 10 felt like plenty. I don't feel a need to go move up to 12 and move up in weight. That felt like a great stimulus. Now, even more so than with vertical pulls, there seem to be a never-ending number of variations and movements and exercises you can do that is a horizontal, or often called a rowing movement. So let's break them down into 3 categories. You have what I would call, within the horizontal category, strength building category, subcategory. And that's going to be the ones that you typically will see with the barbell, because you're going to be able to load more weight, and they're typically both of your arms moving in tandem, and it's going to look something like rowing like this, right? So you've got bent over rows, you've got Pendlay rows where you're bent down even more and going all the way to the ground. And there are other variations on barbell rowing motions, and I would say those are the strength subcategory. The second category would be the hypertrophy or stabilized, maybe. So you can do those barbell ones stabilized on a bench as well, where you're on a bench and you're doing the barbell. But I think it's more common to see dumbbells and doing those rows isometrically. So I think I do that on my moderate pull day. I get on a bench. The bench is supporting me so that I don't get any movement. And then I'm rowing with a dumbbell in each hand. In my last workout routine, I did single arm dumbbell rows, just like, I kneel on a bench, right? And so that you're bent over, kneeled on the bench, and you're just pulling from the ground. So you've got the barbell strength ones, you've got the isometric dumbbell rowing, lots of different variations, right? I'm not going to go over all of them. The ones I've named the 2 that I do the most often, which is the bent over row on the bench and then the chest supported rows on the bench. And then the last category is probably one of the most used, and that's the cable pulling, right? So I do have a cable machine. I do those rows quite often, and that's quite simply just pulling the cable with weights. I like cable pulling because it is deceptively versatile, right? With the barbell and the dumbbell, there are certain things you can do with grip and your angle and stuff like that, whether you're supported or not. But with the cable pull, you can start to get the same variations that you got with lat pulldown and pull-ups. And that, what I mean is just like your width of your grip, pronated versus supinated. And those different variations will work different parts of your back, right? So same principles apply. Generally, a narrower grip is going to be more of your mid and lower back, and that's going to work on that thickness in the middle. And then wider is going to be more of your upper lats, and it's going to work on width. One of my favorites I haven't done in a while is a supinated wide grip for rows. Now, supinated wide grip for pull-ups feels like it just hurts I don't have enough mobility. I don't know if maybe people do it, but it feels like with the row, it can get away with it. And that feels like it's like targeting exactly where I want to target. I want to build this muscle right here. I want to grow wings because I don't currently have them. And so I feel like that one is really good at doing that. Same thing, you can also get narrow or neutral grip handles as well. I don't have any. I probably should get some, but let's get back to the lift. Second set, bent over rows. As usual, I got caught yapping. I went over my rest time on that last set, and I forgot to move the camera, so I'm making sure to do that now so you can see what these look like from the back. You can see how the back muscles are engaging. All right, last set of bent over rows. Got the new camera angle so you can see the back engage or not engage. Hopefully it engages. Shooting for 10 if we can. Last thing I'll say about horizontal rows, same thing as we talked about with vertical pulls, like lat one on the cable machine. You have the advantage of being able to go isometric. Obviously, you can do doing dumbbell pulls are also isometric, but I just wanted to throw that out there that I think on my Friday moderate pull day, I do single arm horizontal rows. So that's another kind of neat aspect of rowing. Cool. Last thing that we will talk about, the last category is accessory work. So this is anything that's not in the strength, vertical or horizontal pulling category. I like to sneak in dumbbell pullovers because even though I do consider it a vertical pull, it's still pretty much like an accessory. It's not like the main thing I would do for strength training and hypertrophy on my lats. It does help with hypertrophy because they are getting a very nice eccentric load. And I mentioned earlier, there's some debate as to whether it's a chest or a back workout. It's a little bit of both. Long story short, arms fully stretched and really reaching back as far as I can go. It's going to work more the lats. A little bit more elbow bend and not going as far back. I can feel that in my chest right now. Right, chest and triceps when I come up. So I do think that dumbbell pullovers are one of the most underrated lifts that you can do for pull day. Lots of people pass over them. I definitely, when I think about an accessory to do, this is top of the list. We'll also talk about other accessory things that you want to hit, specifically bicep and rear delt. We'll talk about that in a sec. So let's get this first set of pullovers. Straight arms if I can. Reach far back. Oh yeah. Just feel that stretch. Alright, let's see if this angle is any good. Hello there. Pullovers once more. What I'm hoping is that from here you can maybe see the backwards stretch. Oh. Might have to leave it at 10. It's bent. Actually, I'm feeling that. My triceps today, I think my triceps are just a little under the weather. but still definitely feeling it in that back. And I will say, I might try these on chest day at some point because they're really good at working the upper chest, and that's the area of chest that needs a little bit more work on my body. So what a cool exercise. Everyone should be doing them. All right, we've still got easy bar curls to go. And be sure to stick around after the workout. We will do our daily check-in. I do a daily check-in every day so you can see what my weigh-in was, if we're on track or not for my cutting goals. And we also look at my calories and protein from the day before. I look at my calorie food tracking app and you can see exactly what I ate and whether that's a good idea for you or a bad idea for you, and whether it was a good idea or a bad idea for me. I do that just to give a glimpse into the life of someone who is tracking their food in an app. That's something that was just really foreign to me when I first started down this fitness journey, and I wanted, I read about calorie tracking and calories out and protein, and I just had no idea where to begin. So hopefully this can just give you a peek behind the curtain and what it looks like and how you might implement it for yourself. So stick around for that. As always, if this video has been helpful, please like it, please subscribe. It really helps me out. All right, let's get these easy bar curls. I love the easy bar. It is nice and easy on my elbow joints. Oh. All right, carrying on our accessory category topic. We started with pullovers. That's some accessory work for our lats. We're doing bicep curls right now. Tons of variations for bicep curls, right? And then the last kind of accessory for pull day, the muscle, would be your rear delts. And so that's usually going to be face pulls or bent over reverse flies. I usually will do them seated on a bench and you focus on coming out like that. Now, I'm not saying I have the best rear delts in the world. They could probably use some help. But in this particular workout, I am doing biceps and pullovers. And the reason I chose pullovers is because I notice that my back and my lat width is probably one of the most lacking features of my body. And so I'm choosing to focus on that, knowing that I hit a lot of shoulders on push day and my moderate push day. Certainly overhead press is going to be working more like those front sections of the shoulder, but I'm doing dumbbell lateral raises as well. And I have in the past done face pulls and reverse flies. So all that to say, I'm choosing to focus in on the weakest of my weak points, right? So if you may look at me and say, your rear delts are super weak, I might say my lats are weaker. So that's why I'm choosing to focus on that. And of course, I'm still doing biceps because, well, vainglory. Why else? I think that my biceps are decent, but it always feels good to, in a workout, include a bicep workout or two, just so that you can get that pump and you can see those veins popping. If I were more concerned with developing a balanced physique, I'd probably abandon the bicep curls for a rear delt exercise. So let's just be honest. So I'm not going to go over all the different variations for bicep curls. Right now, I'm currently doing easy bar curls on my moderate pull day. I do my new favorite curl, I will say this, is, what do you call it? Seated incline curl, dumbbell curls. So you're seated on a bench, incline position, arms hang down, and I do like a slight rotation. So I start hands facing forward and then I supinate them on the way up. You could, of course, start supinated and do that too, but I am loving those because it's hard to avoid swaying. I don't have a preacher bench. I don't love preacher curls. So my new favorite is that seated incline dumbbell curls. So feel free to look at all the other variations. The other two that I grab the most, that I reach for, are just regular dumbbell curls, and that's just regular hammer curl like this, or rotating single arm, right? That pretty much covers my preferences for curls. I keep on saying I'm not going to cover all the variations. Go and look at them. I promise I'm done. No more variations. It's up to you to look up the rest of them. What we are going to do is finish our workout. Last set of curls and for the day. All right, daily check-in real quick. Weighed in at 186.5 today, which is up a pound from yesterday. Dear goodness, it's so loud up there. I'm not entirely surprised by this. When you look at my calories, my nutrition, you'll see why. I will go back and look at it in a sec. Averaging 85.5 or 85.8 for the week. We're shooting for 85.1. So I think if we get back on track today and the rest of the week with our calories, it should work. So, and then we look at the weighted moving average. That's our calories. You can see it says that, my 7-day weight loss is still almost 1.3 pounds, which is encouraging that it's more than 1 pound, discouraging that it's less than 2 pounds, which is where we started. And then you can see it's averaging out, smoothing my weight to be 187.6, which, last week the average was 187.1. If you look at the static weekly averages, so that smooth weighted moving average is kind of helping me keep in mind, hey, listen, you're not actually at 185, right? You need to keep that in mind. And it's also saying, you didn't bump up a pound, like it's going to carry all the discrepancies and find a trend line that's going to be smoother and probably more accurate. But let's go back and look at the calories from yesterday. 2351. So that's higher, right? I like to be under 1800 calories. I've been shooting for 1500 calories at my target, and then knowing that I'll go up to 1600 or 1700 because I tend to go over. Yesterday, I was just feeling stressed. So unfortunately for me, food can be a way of coping with stress. I don't recommend it. It's something that I am working through, and even just working on fitness and tracking my food and stuff like that is all stuff to help combat that. And I will say it could have been worse. This is the healthier side of coping for me. Not that there is like a healthy way to use food to cope. Anyway, what it comes down to is these 2 Halo Top ice creams at the end of the day. Just feeling a lot of anxiety. We have what's called an ice dam on our roof from the snow, which is where the snow starts to melt and then it gets caught in the gutters and by ice, and then the water starts leaking through your roof, and it's just the most terrible thing. I don't recommend it for anyone. So it's just a lot of stress for my family right now. And that's how I dealt with it. So the rest of the day, not too bad. Some regular protein and creatine coffee, a protein bar in the morning, a David bar, a couple of small protein bars, some chili, and a quesadilla for lunch with some Greek yogurt, more chili for dinner, a couple crackers, handful of goldfish is another kind of impulse thing that I don't typically do, and then my gum and ice cream. So yeah. We ended up with 196 grams of protein, which is great, almost 200 grams of protein. That's what we want to do. But yeah, the calories are a little bit higher than what we wanted. So looking to get back on track to my 1500 calorie goal today. And hopefully we can sneak back into the 185s for weight for the rest of the week and update the static average, and then also update the moving smooth average. Hopefully that can come down from like 187 closer to 186 or 185 as well. That's what has happened, and that's my goals. I'm not on track to get down to 170 by the end of the 20-week cut. We have less than 6 weeks to go, And I'm, even if I were 185 right now, that would be 15 pounds with 6 weeks. So I'd have to lose more than 2 pounds a week, which is not going to happen for me. I'm not willing to go into an unhealthy, unsustainable calorie deficit of like 1,200 calories. I already added some cardio. I'm trying to do 2 to 3 sprinting sessions on the rower each week. And I'm trying to commit to doing my daily walk. So I think that's about as much as I'm willing to do for the rest of this cut. And we'll just see where the cards end up, where they lie. Like at the end of the 20 weeks, we'll see where we got down to. I'm hoping that we'll get below 180. I don't think we'll get to 170. And we'll see. And then I'll go on vacation, gain a couple of pounds there, and we'll come back, and then we'll start a more conservative cut, I think, is probably what I foresee to get back down to that 10% body fat goal. So that's my plan. I hope you stick around for the rest of it to see how it goes. Did I miss your favorite go-to pull exercise today? Let me know. What is it? What did I miss? What should I talk about next time? Are you on a calorie deficit right now? What is your goal? Are you struggling with calories? Are you struggling with consistency in the gym? What's the thing that is kind of nipping you? Let's talk about it. Let's help each other. And I'll see you next time.